Hi, this is 2021 non-profit organization Twitter. So here it's also given the information about a sports club, which has 165 members as a opening date, and the annual subscription per member is 6,000. And the information relating to membership subscription given as below. So during the current year, they recruited 25 new members, and at the recruitment, they paid 2 years subscription at once. And the annual subscription was receivable from 15 members as at opening date. And the membership of 10 of these members was cancelled as they failed to pay the arrears in the subscription for the previous year and the current year as well. The balance 5 members paid their subscription in arrears and the current year subscription as well. And 12 members had not paid the subscription for this year. And the following information, the receipts and payments given, and the some assets and liabilities given as at opening date and the closing date. And the donation policies, so you have to identify donations in income over 5 years. And then they ask in subscription account and the income statement, right? So here, as at opening date, there were 165 members. And during the year, they recruited another 25 members. So altogether, 165 plus 25, there are 190 members uh, in this year, right? So from that, you can identify the income, the subscription income, whether you receive in cash or not, that doesn't matter. There are, as at opening date, there were 165 members. And in the year, they recruited 25 new members. So altogether, 190 members, right? So 190 into 6. So because 6,000 is the annual subscription, so 190 to 6. Your total subscription income that you have to identify is 1,140. So that amount you should debit to the subscription account, and you have to identify that as in income, subscription income 1,140. So the double entry of that is income statement credit, subscription account debit. And the annual subscription was receivable from 15 members as at opening date. So from that, you can identify the subscription receivable as at opening date. So that is an asset. So that opening balance you should record in the debit side in the subscription account. 15 into 6, 90,000. So which means 90. And the case that happened from that 15 members, 10 members was cancelled. So the subscription was written off for that 10 members because they failed to pay the arrears for the last year and the current year subscription. So that subscription written off, you have to identify it as an expense, right? So subscription account you should credit, and that subscription written off, you have to identify it as an expense. So the total is how much? There were 10 members and they failed to pay subscription for the last year and also for this year. So 10 into 6 into 2. Why you have to multiply that by 2? Because these 10 members failed to pay subscription for the last year and also for this year as well, right? So the total subscription that you have to written off is 120. So that amount you should credit to the subscription account, as well as you have to identify this 120 subscription written off as an expense as well, right? And then it says 12 members had not paid for the current year, so that is receivable as at closing date. So that amount you should identify as a balance carried down in credit side. So 12 into 6, 72. And initially it says that recruited 25 new members, they are paying at the admission, they paid annual subscription for 2 years. 1 year for this year, and they pay an extra year, right? So that extra income that received in advance, you have to identify it as subscription received in advance, as in uh, debit side as balance credit down. So that's how you identify the subscription account items, opening balances, and the incomes from the subscription and the closing balances and the written off, and then balance in this subscription account, you can identify the subscription received in cash for this year. So that is 1,188. So that's how you are preparing subscription account. And then they ask in the income statement. So we already find subscription income and subscription written off and income and expenses. And here it says in the receipts, donation received 1,200. And in the additional information, it says the donation that you received within the year, you had to identify the income uh, as in 5 years. So 1,200 divided by 5, the donation that you have to identify the income is 240. And the event income is given here 790, so that you have to identify directly as in income. And the expenses, coaches expenses 1,150, you have to identify it as in expense. And the depreciation, how to find out the depreciation? Here it says a sport equipment as in carrying amount. As at opening date, there was 1,500 and closing date 1,600. So, and also in the payment, it says purchase of sport equipment 400, right? So, opening date, there was sport equipment 1,500, and that including that, that sport purchase of sport equipment, you have to add that. So, 1,500 plus 400 altogether, the sport equipment that you should have is 1,900. But as in closing date, it's given the sport equipment at the carrying amount 1,600. So which means the depreciation for this year is 300. And also office expenses, there is adjustment that you have to do because here it says office expenses payable given as at opening and closing. And office expenses you paid 550, right? So from that 550, you paid 100 for last year. So 550 minus 100, the cash amount that you paid for this year office expenses is 450. And it's given as a closing date, there is more payable 70. So which means you paid for this year in cash 450 and there are still payable 70. So total office expenses that you should identify in your income statement is 530. Right? So that's how you identify incomes and expenses, and then you can get the surplus rate, right? So that you how you are answering the question that comes in 2021 area that regarding non-profit organization. And yes, this is my course. So I'm doing classes, person tutoring, individual classes and small group classes. So if you are finding you are seeking a new classes, just give me a call. And that's it for this. And I already uploaded a lot of error past paper discussions to my YouTube channel from 2019 to 2023. So go and check those videos as well and do your best in your exams. Okay? Thank you.